Hi, my name is Temni Wright, and this is an episode of Luring Behind the Scenes. Today, we're going to continue our discussion that we started in Season 1, Episode 1, where we talked about the luring behind the scenes that goes into reality television. In that episode, we talked about the Real Housewives franchise, which is one of my favorites, and it's been pretty good lately, I have to say. So if you've never watched Real Housewives, I'm just going to give a plug for it. It's entertaining, especially in quarantine. And if nothing else, it gives you total vacation goals, shopping goals, sometimes life goals, sometimes not life goals. I mean, it's so much fun. But another favorite of mine is 90 Day Fiancé. It's so entertaining. Me and my friends will have hours long conversation and text strings about the crazy things that are going on. So 90 Day Fiancé was starting in 2014 and has not looked back since.
Getting through customs is just the beginning. With just 90 days to wed on a fiancé visa, follow the international couples as they attempt to overcome cultural barriers and family drama while in search of true love that knows no borders. 90 Day Fiancé offers a unique look into the world of international dating and matrimony. Using a unique 90 Day Fiancé visa, the K-1 visa, the foreigners will travel to the U.S. to live with their overseas partner. The couples must marry before their visas expire in 90 days, or the visiting partner will have to return home. They'll have to overcome language barriers and culture shock and skeptical friends and family, all with a clock that starts ticking the moment they step foot on U.S. soil. The stakes are incredibly high as these couples are forced to make life-altering decisions: get married or go home.
Premises around this K-1 visa process and international people coming to the U.S. to live to fulfill that process, or it's just focused on sometimes now that they've had spinoffs. There's been 4 spinoffs. The other way, before the 90 days, they have like a quarantine version of it, where they're using their own cameras to videotape everything, which is pretty interesting too. Differences that seem small, but as you're learning and getting to know someone and that person's getting to know your family, it can really impact your relationship, and you really have to have patience to get through that. So we see all of the drama, all of the interesting things that go on with that. So today, in the context of 90 Day Fiancé and the luring behind the scenes that goes on in reality television, we are going to talk about casting and a lawsuit. So basically how depiction releases protect production companies and networks from lawsuits from cast members that are in shows. So first, let's just talk about the K-1 visa process. I think it's good to just give an overview. There's 30 to 40,000 K-1 visa applications filed every year. A majority of the visas are approved. The process usually takes 6 to 9 months, but we've definitely seen it take longer on the show. The process is $2,000 for the application, and of course it costs more when you have to involve an immigration attorney. And the requirement is that you have a bona fide interest in marrying the person rather than you're not trying to obtain an immigration benefit. So now we're going to talk about casting. I thought casting was really interesting when I was reading about 90 Day Fiancé and kind of the behind the scenes scoop of what goes on. It's really interesting of how do they find these people? How do you find people that are in the process of obtaining a K-1 visa? So they look in chat rooms, they look in immigration chat rooms, and more interestingly, they ask immigration attorneys. So they contact immigration attorneys, and immigration attorneys will then say, they'll talk to their client because they can't, that would be breaking attorney-client privilege. So they talk to clients that they think will be interested, and then the immigration attorney then talks to TLC and they connect them. Part of casting is they do a whole cheat sheet on the person, figure out their background. They have to do a background check. And TLC says that they do background checks on all the participants in the show. So if you watch the show, you know that several of the cast members have controversial pasts, whether it is in the case of domestic violence, whether it's just a not great story that happened between them and their previous spouse or their previous ex. They left a country for a specific reason that is not great, or whatever it is. So TLC finds this out beforehand. but they may not find everything out. What I thought was interesting is TLC says they do all these background checks. They find people, whether or not they have a criminal history or a bad background, they still allow them to be on the show if they don't think that they will pose a risk to, the behind the scene people like the producers and the cameramen, and of course the person that they're in the relationship with. Fiancé in the more recent seasons, there are secrets that come out that sometimes they don't know. For instance, if you're a 90 Day Fiancé fan, if you're not, maybe this will encourage you to watch it. There is a couple on 90 Day Fiancé where, first of all, the guy, when they were first talking, the guy lied about who he was. He basically was a catfisher. The woman is a US citizen. So the woman still was like, oh no, that's okay, I still love you. Like, they worked through that. Next, she moves to India, where the man is. They get together, they live together, everything's going great. Boom, we find out that he is married. So he's living with this woman, brought her from the United States, already lied to her once, and is married. And production supposedly did not know anything about that. So despite them doing all these background checks, there are still tons of issues that come up on the show. And the subjects of the show are not doing enough investigation about the people. So there's always these secrets that are being exposed on every season. And it's half depressing and half comical. And I think that's what makes the show so great. And then as far as people having a criminal background or being a liability, unless the production company or the network is facilitating or somehow facilitating the acts that occur, that's the only way that they can really be held liable. And so that brings us to the interesting point and our main point of discussion today, which is going to be a lawsuit that happened between 90 Day Fiancé and some cast members. So a couple on the show, Mark and Nikki Shoemaker. I'm not sure what season because I didn't watch it, but they apparently were not happy with how they were featured on the show. They tried to sue TLC, production company, the network, basically the network and the production company, for the way that they were depicted on the show. So as I talked about in my previous episode 1, it's not gonna work. You can't sue for the way you're depicted on a reality show. That's why you really have to be careful if you want to go on a reality show, because unless you're the executive producer, it's fair game. They're going to depict you however you want. So I think what happens and what we see as viewers, so obviously we don't know what's going on like behind the scenes, but what we see as viewers is people get excited, they get on a reality show, they think that they're going to be able to control the narrative by controlling the footage that they tape on the show, and then they don't realize that there's times that they're taping that you might not want them to be taping, and then are filming. I feel so old when I say taping. There may be times that you don't want them to be filming you, and they're filming. Stuff may be revealed that you didn't want to be revealed that's now being revealed. In the case of Mark and Nikki Shoemaker, they sued the network and the production company for the way that they were depicted. They wanted damages, they wanted money, they wanted them to pull off all the episodes, take down all the episodes that they were in. They lost. The case was dismissed because of the agreement that they signed. They signed an appearance release form and a depiction release. So they were not able to succeed because you release everything when you get on a reality TV show. So I just think that that's an interesting point to raise again, that the way that reality TV has become so successful is that people are willing to risk it all, really. Risk their reputation and put their depiction and their image in someone else's hands, and hope that it aligns with how that they want to be portrayed. And they can't come back later and sue, whether it's for contract breach, whether it's for the way they were depicted in the show, whether it's for defamation. They're unlikely to succeed. And I think it's a risk that you have to weigh with the exposure that you get on a reality show, because most of them are going on the show for the exposure. They want their lives exposed, they want their business exposed, and balancing that with the exposure of things that you don't want released. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you notice, I'm trying to make the format a little different. The episode's a little shorter, so give me some feedback and let me know if you're enjoying this. I love reality TV, so this was a really fun episode for me. I'll see you on the next time of Luring Behind the Scenes. I'm Tamni Wright.